Here we are, another fireside chat. Can't wait. I've got my list of questions, and this one I'm looking forward to the answers on. Can you tell us, or tell the group, how you go about, as the boss and for the business, not making mistakes?
Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design.
So I can sense that you're smirking because you know better than anybody the amount of mistakes that I've made in business. The truth is you desperately want to make mistakes. You've got to try pushing the bar. You've got to try changing things within your business. Push the envelope as far as you possibly can. And if you're not trying to be creative and different, if you're just trying to follow what everybody else has done, then you'll just be as good as them. If you want to be spectacular, then try some spectacular things. And you will end up with mud in your face occasionally. But you know what? Wash yourself off and go again. When you talk to a lot of people, they always talk to you about the great game of golf, and they never tell you about the howlers. They always talk about that game of poker when they just won a fortune. They never tell you about the times they lost. Mm-hmm. And the classic is when Bill talks about Oscar's Well. Now, this great horse that he had in the Derby, there's got to be 30 that made it to Finland's lasagna, right? So you always talk to people about everything and their learning curve. I remember in the deepest, darkest recession, I mean, this recession hit really hard. It's the one before 2007. I can't remember the exact date. And I thought at the time, I mean, I was totally untouchable. Everything I'd ever done was absolutely on fire. So why on earth would I follow everybody else and cull costs and just basically hide under a rock until recession had gone? Mm-hmm. So to go against everything that everyone was doing, I took on 30 extra staff, trainees, I tell you, and just tried to trade through it. But it didn't go well. And the board meetings became, whooping sessions. I had to put yellow pages down the back of my trousers as I walked in because I was going to get proper roasted. I remember trying to start a business up, Interquest, where, sorry, Gary, but I was under pressure to do something spectacular and spectacular. Well, I just thought, well, why don't I get the 10 best people I can possibly see in the marketplace, absolutely rock stars as billers, who I think could potentially be billing managers and build businesses around them and make them fight with each other. There could be some synergies across all the different businesses. Well, that was £1 million, but it was Gary's money, so it's okay. But I've learned great lessons from that come to fall for everybody else. So I think you need to try things. I think you need to fall flat on your face. And you do need to be aware that most things that you try, if they're very, very different, it's seldom that they go right. But if they do, you've got to make sure that win is certainly big enough. And you don't want to be perfectionists. Well, I know that it's all about you, right? Because I know that you plan all of your moves brilliantly, but it gets to a point where it's got to be that MVP and get it out there, yeah?
Yeah, look, I plan for, see, people think Dean's going on about a business plan. I plan purely because I find it cathartic. I put stuff down, it challenges myself. I'm one of those people, once I've written something, I go through it a few times, but I have to stop because I will not stop amending it because everything's a mistake and everything can be improved on. And that's that kind of mentality. And I'll go back to your comments about Gary. Gary Ashworth has mentioned that to me many times, but not long after that, another person there mentioned that part of the business was doing exceedingly well. And sometimes you have to invest to save. You have to invest to get that springboard and, grow something really, really quickly. And I remember many years ago when I was first starting a business, I was at a function and a business I knew of where the entrepreneur had sold out for 82 million he pocketed himself. And it was an extraordinary amount of money back in, the early 2000s. And I met him and, I wanted to understand what he'd done that was so brilliant, how he was such a rock star, how this business has been so amazing. And he finished the conversation after we went through a few things, but I couldn't find anything within that business that was different from other businesses other than his steely focus on making it the best he could make it. And he said to me, Dean, but you've got to understand, that was my 52nd business that I sold. And I said, oh, brilliant, what happened to the other 51? Every single one failed. And I thought to myself, well, that's the mark of an entrepreneur. That's the mark of somebody who's got the resilience to step up, learn from their mistakes, and go again. And it is about how many times you get up, not about how many times you go down, because everybody goes down.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward.
History's written by winners, so you can't just depend on reading history and thinking everybody else is a success, because that's just insecurities.
That's also the mark of someone who's got absolutely blinkered resilience, or he needs to make better decisions. I think the best. I know, right? But 52 is amazing. When most entrepreneurs talk about their success rate should be like 1 in 4, 1 in 5. And if you're investing into universities where things are proper on the bleeding edge, it's 1 in 8, 1 in 9. But the wins from those are amazing.
They are amazing. I mean, actually talking about that business, there's a business called Teaching Personnel, and this was many, many, many years ago. It's now the biggest education recruitment agency in the country. It's merged with others. So it's not like it died. It continued to be successful. I remember catching a taxi once and on the airport in the morning, and we went through this cut through, and there was a lovely big house there. And I said to the taxi driver on the way to Luton Airport, that's a lovely house. And he said, oh, it's owned by, I can't remember the chap's name, who sold Vodafone. And I thought, God, he must be minted. He sold it for £12 million, right? And it was worth whatever billions within the next 2 to 3 years. But he'd gone so far, and it had taken all of his energy and resilience. And that was, £12 million, wouldn't say no, but he'd gone that far. So you never know.
But there is an element that recruitment business leaders can take a business so far, and there are some very smart people like Darren Rymel who then get someone to stand into that CEO role. They move back into the chair, and then the business can go again and go again and go again. And I think that's a very smart move to make. I think when businesses are trying to actually just to go as fast as they possibly can, they are likely to make a lot of mistakes. The most important thing is to make sure that you've got a decent dashboard to really understand, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? What is it that this change is doing? Is it working? So that you can make a decision very quickly, because if it's wrong, flip it. There is a danger that you keep making changes and your business starts looking back at the boss saying, you haven't got a Scooby what you're doing. But as long as everyone understands and you communicate, this is what we're trying to achieve, these are the things that we're going to try to do to achieve that. And we're not going to stop looking at these until we achieve that goal. What we won't do ever is say that goal is unattainable and stop trying. So they have to get used to it. But if you're trying something and it fails, but just stop and then do something different, but never give up on the task.
No, and that's true. You have to have clarity of vision, because that's to be a good leader in a business, to get people, you've got to have followers. You can't do it on your own. That's why you started a business with people. So you've got to be able to communicate your vision. There's got to be clarity in that vision, clarity and goal for the people you're working with. And actually, one of the things I've done in all of my businesses is ban the word try, because it cuts down time. Because of course you try. Everybody tries, but you did or you didn't. If you didn't do it, we've been out of short trousers a long time. Let's take your medicine, get on with it, and then we'll all be better for it. So the only mistake I say that people shouldn't make is running out of cash.
Sorry to interrupt, but there are some policemen here. They say they need to speak to you about irregularities in the pension fund.
I see. Could you make me a cup of tea, please, Stephanie?
Because if you run out of cash, you could be profitable in your P&L and look really good. But if you run out of cash, it's the biggest mistake you'll ever make, because your business probably won't survive it. So you can make these decisions. Going back to your dashboard, make sure that you've got a good cash flow. You understand where your business is in terms of its finances, its headroom, because that's your oxygen to grow. And you know whether you can afford to pivot on something or whether or not you have to hang on to something that's probably less profitable than something that needs investment to be more profitable.
I also think there's an element of muscle memory for your people. If they're used to things changing repeatedly, you're giving them fresh ideas and impetus, they're willing to have a go at it. If they keep doing the same thing in the same way, getting paid the same way, but putting change into that environment is very difficult. and things will fail, not because it's a bad idea, it's because it's been implemented and driven badly. So living in a constant state of change, when it's a constant state of fear, that's what's outside at the moment with Boris. And here's a man making a lot of mistakes. He's not making more right than he's making wrong right now. That will stay relevant for a very short period of time. This video's got no longevity, but you do have to think about making change. I think that's potentially a good point to stop on here. You need to make more better decisions than you make poor ones.
Yeah, and that is it. I remember reading once a long time ago after the financial crash about a hedge fund manager who'd made billions. And they said, in this interview, why are you so good at this, that, and the other? And he said, I'm not. If you talk to anybody in my sector who's been very successful, they've just won more than they've lost. And I think that's it with business. You've just got to win more than you lose to be a winner, to be successful. But you will lose at times. So just get up and get on.
As George Soros says, never sell at a high, never buy at a low, just keep churning the trades. Just keep the business, keep the wheels going. Dean, thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.